Hi everyone, Salesforce admin training, day 13. Let's see what are we going to learn today. We can quickly go through the previous session overview. Then we'll talk about the auto response rules. And in the auto response rule, we'll talk about the lead auto response rules, organization wide email address, and then we will see the next topic of the use case. Object, what is a object? What are the different type of objects are there? What is standard object, what is custom object, and what are the governor limits are there on the objects, and what are the different ways to create a objects. And then we talk about the object manager and schema builder, developer console, and then we'll see the use case. So then we'll have a quiz, homework, and today's interview. Now quickly, what did we learn in the last session?
Web to lead, how to create web to lead, web to case.
Web to lead, web to, what are the different steps we have to do it in order to do the web to lead and web to case. So basically last class, what we have done is we have created the web to lead. We clicked on this web to lead and we have these all steps. What are these steps? And then we clicked on it, create a web to form, and we have choose a couple of information and redirect. Where should it be redirected? So let's say, for example, this is the same URL which I wanted to redirect. Right, reCAPTCHA will be disabled and click on generate. So it will be, there is a HTML code gets generated. When the HTML code gets generated, then open up the notepad. In the notepad, just type the HTML and the closure of HTML. Then we have a body here and the close of body. Within this, we are going to specify the what are the copied, whatever we have copied, that's the same file we are going to copy it, paste it here, and then click on a save. Let's save it as a, on the desktop, save as a .html, and here any type of file, all type. So we have a web to lead. So let's use that. Click on yes, overwrite. So it will be done. So once I open that file, I can see that form is getting open. If I open this, this is the form which is displayed. So we have understood overall of this, right? So today, further we will understand the next topic is called auto response rule. Auto response rule. So auto response rule is nothing but whenever you are sending an email, for example, you are submitting a form. When you are submitting a form, so after submitting, sometimes you receive two emails. For example, you have submitted here regarding the ICICI Bank. Regarding the ICICI Bank, you have applied a loan. So some details which you have given here related to the loan. Some details you have given which is a personal details, and then you clicked on a submit button here. We have a submit button here. So when we clicked on a submit button, immediately what will happen in my Outlook? In my Outlook, I see that there are two emails which are generated. Two emails which are I receive two emails. Sometimes we receive two emails. Sometimes we receive only one email. Sometimes we receive two emails. Sometimes we receive only one email. Only one email. Now here, first one is a kind of a welcome to the ICICI Bank. Welcome to the ICICI Bank. Second one is will have a more details. The second one will have a more details. That means whenever user is submitting the form, then we wanted to send auto response email. Auto response email. So this auto response email is basically auto response email is automatically send email response to the either lead or a case on submitting the record. That means we are submitting the record here. On the submission, I wanted to send automatically. I wanted to send one additional email automatically, right? Either you can do it in the Web2 lead, or a Web2 case, you can choose the auto response. Web2 lead or a Web2 case, you can choose the auto response email. There is a auto response email is there. Auto response email. So this is in the Web2 lead. Apart from this, we also have a new one which is called as a auto response rules. The another one which is a topic is auto response rules. So auto response rule is automatically fire for when Web2 lead and Web2 case. Automatically it fires for a Web2 lead and Web2 case. What will happen? Basically, it will determine which email template to send on lead or a case generated. Whenever the lead and case is generated, which email that I should sending the automatically. So for the Web2 lead or a Web2 case, it determines which email template to send it for the on creation of the lead or on creation of the case. Now, auto response rule is automatically send email response to lead or a case submission, right? So basically, if we wanted to send automatically the response saying that you are submitted this record and we are looking into the record. These are the details we have received it. So I wanted to collect the details from the record and send the auto response email, right? So for that, we use a auto response rule. Separately, we have a topic, this one. So auto response rule is divided into two types: lead auto response rule, case auto response rule. So when you search a auto response, you will see here lead auto response rule and case auto response rule. There are two types are available. Now let's see the lead auto response rule. Lead auto response rule, when you click on it, you will see very blank one. So initially there is no data will be there. So basically it says that automatically determines which email template to use when sending auto response message to new lead. So basically here you can select what is the email that you wanted to send, which email template you wanted to send. Now click on here new button. When you click on a new button, you will see this screen. You will see this screen where it is asking the rule name and whether you wanted to activate or not. Auto response rules are similar to the assignment rule. Auto response rules are similar to the assignment rule. Assignment rules also same thing. So auto response rules also you have to create a rule here, and let's go ahead and see. Now let me go to the org. So in the org, let's go to the org. Now here, let's search the auto response. Auto response rules automatically determines which email template to use when sending auto response message to new leads from your website. Click on a new button here. Click on a new button. So it is asking that what is the rule name? What is the rule name? Let's say that auto response, lead auto response, new lead auto response. New lead auto response. Click on activate it and click on a save. Now once it is done, now initially only I have activated it. Then we have to do the rule entry. Click on a new. In the rule entry, similar to the assignment rule, here also we have a sorting order 1, and you can select here criteria to met. You can say here city equal to Hyderabad or any condition if you want to specify, you can specify it. Any condition, if you want to specify, you can specify, or else in auto response rules, we have a something called formula evaluate to true. Formula evaluate to true. So by default, if you want this auto response to be fired without any condition for every lead, it has to be fired. Every lead, it has to be fired. So simply say here true. Simply say here true. So check the rule. Check the rule here. The rule is formula evaluate to true. Formula evaluate to true and just specify here true. Specify here true. So first step is order. Second step is the criteria, whatever the criteria is there. And then third step is specify the name and the address to include at the auto response from line. So whenever you receive an email, you might have observed that ICICI support @ICICI.com. Like whenever you receive an email, you receive it like this, right? You will not receive it from the person. Either you will receive it support @ICICI Bank, or else support, or else there is something called help@salesforce.com. So whenever you receive an email, you will receive it from like this. You will receive it like this, or else Salesforce support @gmail.com. Right? So you will receive like this. You will not receive it from the person, like you will not receive it from the person. So let's say here, so Asma. So asma@gmail.com. So you will not be hearing emails, any emails you will not be receiving from the person, or ashwini@gmail.com. You will not be receiving from the person. You will be receiving from the direct. There is something called, some email will be there, which is called as a support, right? Or sometimes you will not even see the email. You will just see that there is it is called as a Salesforce support, right? Or it is called as a help desk. You will directly see this information. You will directly see this Salesforce support or a help desk. Like this, you will see. You will not even see @gmail.com also. So basically in Salesforce also, it is asking that whenever you are sending it, what is the name that you wanted to show there? I'll say here Salesforce support. And then what is the email ID, email address? Now email address, you can enter the email address, or else you can enter the email address, or below it is given the send email address must be either one of your verified org-wide email address. You cannot simply put any email address here. You cannot simply put any email address. The email address has to be verified in the organization-wide email address. Organization-wide email address. So it has to be verified somewhere in the Salesforce org. Salesforce org. So this organization-wide email address is basically, it is common to everybody. It is common to entire org. It is common to entire org. That means organization-wide email address is, which defines a common email address that a user profile can use. That means in entire org, whatever the actions are happening, in entire org, whatever the actions are happening, so those all, everybody should be using the organization-wide email address. Everybody will be using the organization-wide email address. Now type organization-wide email address, set up and search for a organization-wide email address. Then you will see this screen. You will see this screen. So organization-wide email address is, which is used by the any profile. which is used by the any profile. Basically, this is common email address in entire org. This is common email address in the entire org. So click on a add button here. Once you click on a add button, you will see here all profiles are load profiles are all profiles. Where status is verified means this is valid, we can use. If the status says pending, we cannot use that email address. If status is verified, then this email address can be used anywhere. Now let me show you that. So let me go back to the organization wide. I'll come back to this auto response rule back. So let's click on a cancel. Now let's go back to the organization wide address. Organization wide address. So this is basically organization wide email address for user selection and a default no reply use. That means sometimes we receive an email and at the bottom of the email it says that do not respond to this email because it is a auto response. So similar to that, we are going to create a here. One email address will be created. So click on the add button here. So when you click on the add button, it asks what is the display name. Display name, I'll say that here help desk. Help desk and the email address, let's give samskarit@gmail.com. And purpose is user selection or a default no reply address or user selection and default no reply address. Whichever one you wanted to select it, you can select it here. User selection is nothing but you have an option to choose the users here, right? Allow all the profiles is nothing but you cannot, basically you are allowing everybody. And the second option is default no reply address. Sometimes we receive emails, no reply emails, right? So if you want to go for that, so you can use the default no reply address. Now user selection and default no reply address is also by default it is going to disable. Right now I'm selecting as a user selection, click on save. So once the record is saved, it says here allowed profiles is all profiles because I have selected all profiles. Because I have selected purpose is user selection. Whenever it is a user selection, I have said here all profiles, right? Or else if you want to say no reply, auto respond, right? So for example, if I wanted to edit here, now you can edit user selection and default no reply address. No reply address. Now it is saying that user selection and default no reply address. And for that also we have a all profiles. Now verification request sent on this. Now if I say resend, it will send it again. Now let me go ahead and check whether it sent the email or not. So here we have received an email saying that this is the person name and click this link to confirm the organization wide email address. And this will expire after 72 hours. Click on this and let's say that continue. When I click on a continue, I immediately just refresh this. Here verification request sent was there. Now it is changed to the verified. Right? Now I'll go back to now the organization-wide email address is created. You can create a multiple organization-wide email address. One for a help desk, one for a Salesforce support, one for service team. Like that, you can create a multiple organization-wide email address. There is no specific that I should be creating only one or not. You can create whatever the records you want, you can create it. Now let's go back to the auto response here. Lead auto response and click on this new lead auto response. Click on a new rule entries. Sorting order is 1. And here run this rule if the formula evaluate to true. I'll simply specify here true. Okay, do not go in depth of the formula fields. We will discuss later. Right now, just specify it as a true. And here name, I'll say here Salesforce support and email address. Email address is what are the email address was there. So my email address was samskarit@gmail.com. Right, email template. What is the email template? By default, Salesforce is providing the email template. Let's say that I'm going to say here, I'll say we do not have any specific, let's say new customer email. Click on save. Click on save. Now it says something, Samskar ID is invalid for the email address, Gmail. Now click on the save. Now, so this org-wide email address is basically, you should not be giving your, in real time, you should not be giving your email address. You should not be giving your email address. Basically, client will be giving their email address. Whenever you are push the data to the production, client should give the email address. Now, whenever you are developing it, whenever you are working in sandbox, you can use your email address for testing purpose. But when it goes to the real time, in the real time, email addresses are, which are the client address. Client actual real address will be giving here. And it is maintained by the client. It is maintained by the client. Once we deploy the changes to the production, and if once it is done and we have tested everything is perfectly fine, then we should bring the email address to the client email address. Client email address. We should change the client email address. So once it is changed to the client email address, client will receive an email saying that the org-wide email address has to be verified. So once it is verified, then client should be maintaining this organization-wide email address. So it's just a one-time creation. Every time we will not change anything. Every time we will not change anything. So similar like the email which I have received it. So this is the email, how I'm receiving it. I'm receiving it from the Salesforce. And it is asking me to the organization. So basically it is email that is sent from the Salesforce asking that you need to confirm this organization-wide email address. This is just a confirmation email that goes out to the client. Once it goes out to the client confirmation email, once it is confirmed, the status will be changed to the verified. The status will be changed to the verified. We are not talking about the sync part. We are not talking about the sync. We are just talking about the validating the email address. I'm not talking about the sync. Whenever I add here a record, there is a one email which go out to the customer, whoever the email address that I have added, there is a one email which go out to the that person just to verify the your Salesforce org-wide email address. We are not talking about the sync at all. This is just a verification. So if you click on this, so that here status will be changed to the verified. Status will be changed to the verified. That means this is a verified email address. If anybody wants to use it in anywhere, they can use it. Like I have used here in the lead auto response room. right? Anywhere, if anybody wants to use the org-wide email address, they can use this email address because this is verified email address, verified email address. This is we are adding a record in the organization-wide email address so that the person will get a verification email. Verification email, this is just to verify that your your email ID is added in the Salesforce. Do you agree or not? If I say yes, I agree, or yes, I verify it, then the status will be changed to the verified so that anybody can use this email address while sending the emails on behalf of the Salesforce org. Right? So we are not talking about anywhere, nowhere. I'm not talking about a sync here. Right? So let's move on. Now this is the organization part. So let's go ahead and create a one lead. Let's create a lead. So full name, let's give it here. The first name is, let's say Arvind. Arvind. And then let's give here name. @gmail.com. Company is Dell. City is Hyderabad. And then state. Let's leave this state, or else you can give here. Now click on it, submit. Once it is submitted, it is redirected to the my org. It is redirected to the my org because I have given the option here. Now click on here, view all, and select the sales. So click on that lead. And let's say here today's lead. Now there is a one lead which is created. Right, so this is the details. This is the details that lead is created and the owner is assigned. Owner is added to the Hyderabad sales queue. Now automatically there is a one email which sent to the person. There is an email which received the person. Now let's go back and check. Okay, I have given the different email address. Two addresses, this one I have given. So basically this person will get this email. From where this email is getting it. Now let's go back to the edit. Now this is the template. What is this template which I have added here? Template is, dear candidate, all of us generate these emails which I am getting it. So basically this is the template which I have added in the auto response. This is the template which we have added in the auto response. Right? So this is the email. So basically this is the email. Whenever I created the auto response, in the auto response. So auto response rules, lead auto response rules. In the auto response rule, when I created the rule entry, what is the template that I have added? Template is, so this is the template. This is the template that I have added. What is the text is there behind this template? Let's see. Now the text is, it says that all of us at GenVat are glad to have a account name as a customer. So this is the some details which we have it. Now let me submit one more lead. Open this lead. Let's open this lead and let's give here Pallavi. Let's say first name is Sai and then Pallavi. And then let's give here email ID. I'll give my email ID so that we can verify it. Samskar IT IT@gmail.com. Company is, let's give Wipro. City Hyderabad. State is Telangana. Right click on it, submit. So once I click on it, submit, it will be redirected to the my org. Now immediately there is a lead is created here. Let's go to the today's lead. In the today's lead, there is a one record which is created. Sai Pallavi, and this is the lead is assigned to the Hyderabad sales queue. And the activity is, there is a one activity which happened, the email which is sent, welcome to the GenVat community. So that's the same email which we have added, right? So all of us GenVat are glad to have Wipro as a customer, right? And these are the details which are coming from the auto response. So basically this email is, we are receiving this email because we have enabled the auto response rule. We have enabled the lead auto response rule. We have created one lead auto response rule. So that's the reason we received this. Now here, Salesforce support, it says Salesforce support. Why it is saying the Salesforce support? Because when I created the Web2 lead auto response, here I have given a Salesforce support. So that's the reason it is giving the Salesforce support. And this is some decoded email ID. Now this is how we receive the information. This is how we receive the information for the auto response. Clear, everybody? Yes. There will be a multiple verified email address. So that's what I have mentioned. So we will have a multiple verified email address will be there. Okay. So let's move on. Assignment. Create a org-wide email address. Use your valid email address. Use your valid email address. Use your valid email address. And then verify the email. Create case auto response. Create case auto response. And then rule name is case rule. Activate it. And the rule entry, just mention the order number 1. Formula evaluate to true equal to, just mention it as a true. Enter the name of it, whatever the name you wanted to specify, and enter the org-wide email address, whatever the email address that you are specifying in the org-wide email address, just enter that email address. And you can choose any existing template. Right, so once that is done, create a case from the website. Right, Web2 case we have it, right? From the Web2 case, submit a case, and a case should be created in the Salesforce. Then immediately assignment rule should be fired, and then case auto response rule should fire, and then user receive an email. So these are the 4 steps which will happen on creation of the record. These are the 4 steps which will happen on creation of the record. These are the 4 steps which will happen on creation of the record. Note down the assignment. Let me know once you are done. No. You observe any emails, the email address we should not be showing to the any of them. We never show the email address. That is a kind of a crime, right? So whenever we are sending as part of on behalf of company, whenever we are sending an email on behalf of company, then that person should not be showing the email address. We should not show the email address to the person should not be showing the person email address. You should not show. So automatically Salesforce hide the details. Automatically Salesforce hide. We never even our personal email address also we should not be sharing it. Our personal email address also we should not be sharing it. Our personal email address should not be sharing to the our client.
Ma'am, I mean, suppose we are giving any query to any companies, we get the response back from support at icc.com or the company support email. So it is visible who is the sender.
I'm saying auto response emails. Once the case is assigned to the a user, then they will take a ownership. But when it is a auto response email, we should not share. Now the case is created after a lead is created. Once the lead is created, now person has to pick up this lead because this person has to communicate the details with the other person, right? So this person will be updating, like basically somebody should be taking the details. Somebody should be owning the lead in order to talk to the customer. So that means when the person owns it, then they will say that, okay, I'm owning this case. But auto responses always has to be as part of the company's email or if somebody's in the email. So it has to be hidden format. It has to be hidden format. Simple example, whenever we create a developer org, do we receive a mail from the person? Do we receive a mail from the person? No, right? We receive it as a normal one. We receive it saying that you have created a new org. You have created a new org. We will not get anything, right? So it is not from the person. Whenever we create a developer addition org, we will not get a email from the person. It is like a generic email. We will receive it saying that you have created an email. So those auto response email should not be a specific to the user. Now let's move on. Is everybody noted the homework? Is everybody noted? Okay, so let's move on. So next one, let's see the use case. Now, if you go to the customer success stories, just search here, customer success stories. So you can open this, any of the customer stories. So this is the link. So here, if you go to the customer stories of the Salesforce, you will see that there are multiple clients who are using the Salesforce. There are multiple clients who are using the Salesforce. There are different type of industries are there. Different type of industries are there. So the possible that healthcare industry, right? Automobile industry, and then we have a different users, we have a different type of users, we have different type of users we have. So every client is not same as others. Every client is not same as others. For example, let's take a scenario. So the scenario is, let's assume that we got a insurance project. That means we need to implement a insurance application. Now I cannot say that insurance application is, if the insurance application is not same as a other application. So whenever we have a like automobile industry, so far I have implemented one application for the automobile industry or the healthcare industry. Can I use the same object in the insurance? May not be the same, because insurance flow is different. So when the insurance flow is different, example, in the insurance application, we have a branch. In the insurance application, we have a branches and we have a employee. And then we have a agent. And then we have a policy, right? So there are different type of a information we need to collect it from the customer, right? Branch, because we need to maintain the details in the branch. Employee, we need to maintain the details in the employee. Agent, we need to maintain the details in agent. Policy, we need to maintain the details in policy. Customer details, we need to maintain it. As well as claims details, we need to maintain. So these are the different information which we need to maintain in the Salesforce. These are the different details we need to maintain in the Salesforce. Now, insurance application, that means whenever we are creating the application, we need a branch, employee, agent, policy, customer claims. These are the details we need to capture. Apart from this also, there are few more objects are there, but right now we are focusing on these, right? So whenever these are the details which are needed. That means very high level, I need to draw a chart. That means for the branch, I need to create a branch object in the Salesforce. For the employee, I need to create an employee object. For agent, I need to create an agent object. For policy, I need to create a policy object. Customer object, I need to create. Claims object, I need to create it. So basically, whenever we get any new application to us, whenever we have to implement a new application for any customers, the first thing is that architecture. How you are going to build this project. How many objects are you going to create it? That means how many custom objects you are going to create it. Why are you creating the custom object? Cannot we use standard object here? For example, customer object, I can use a standard object as an account object. And then employee object, I can use the object for the contact object, right? So like this, they will ask, basically the architect has to be design the structure For how can I store this data, insurance application data in Salesforce, and how many objects are required? Everything we need to draw it and understand whether we really need this. Do I really need these many objects or not? Do I really need these many objects, or can I combine two objects? Everything will be decided. Everything is decided in the initial phase. Once we got the clarity of the what are the objects that we are going to create it, how many standard objects we are going to use it, how many custom objects we are going to create it, and for this custom object, what is the purpose of it, why we are creating the custom object. Everything we will decide it, and finally we will build an application. Finally, we will build an application for the insurance. Finally, we will build an application for the insurance and we will give it to the client. So this is how we do initial phase. This is how we do in the initial phases. How we do initial phases. Right, so let's take this is the scenario. This is for any application. You go for any company. Whenever you get a new project, get a new project, this is the initial discussion that happens. Before discussing the object itself, we need to understand what is the functionality that is needed. What is the functionality that is needed? Now, based on that, we will decide everything about the object. So basically, object is nothing but object represents a table. Object represents a table. Object is nothing but a table, which is used to store the application data or business data or organization data or a specific data, which is used to store the certain data in Salesforce, which is used to store the certain data in Salesforce. In order to store the data, Salesforce provided two type of objects. Salesforce provided two type of object. One is a standard object, another one is a custom object. One is standard object, another one is a custom object. Now, in Salesforce, we call the terminology called S object. We call the terminology S object. What is the S object? S object is nothing but a Salesforce object, which is nothing but custom and standard and custom objects both together is called as a S object. S object is nothing but a Salesforce object. It could be a custom object, it could be a standard object. It could be a standard object, it could be a custom object. Any object which can be that means either standard or a custom is called as a S objects. Every time whenever we work in the Salesforce, the actual working people, every time they say that S object and using the S object, right? So S object is Salesforce objects. Salesforce objects. External objects is we will discuss later. External object is basically whenever we wanted to send the details to the third party system. Whenever we wanted to send that means that object is used only for the outside of Salesforce. Externally used, we are not using that internally. Externally used, that means out of the Salesforce, whenever we have some concept, usually it will be there in the integration or any of the integration will be there. So, right? So external object is very rare scenario we create an external object. But if you know how to create a custom object, you will be able to create the external object also. External object is the objects which are used for the external purpose. Whenever you are talking to the SAP, whenever you are talking to the .NET, whenever you are talking to the any other Oracle, so, right? So directly you are dealing with directly they are dealing with our object. In that case, what we have to do is we need to create a separate object which is used for only externally. Only externally. Jyoti, hold on this question, I'll cover it. Right, so far internally we have a standard object and custom object. Standard object and custom object. Internally standard object and custom object. Externally only one object which is called as a external object. So two type of object, internally standard object and a custom object. Externally, it is a external object. External object. Now, how can we create the external object is a different part together, because I'll show you that where to create it. Now, when I go to the object manager, no, before that, let's understand this. So standard object is nothing but there are ready-made objects provided by Salesforce. There are ready-made objects provided by Salesforce by default as part of the Salesforce CRM. These are the standard objects which are provided by the Salesforce. Example, account, contact, campaign, lead, right? Opportunity, case, solution, order. Whatever we have seen so far is a standard object. Standard objects can be customized. Standard objects, for example, I have a table here, account. I have a table here, account. Right, in this account, I can create a few more fields. Like if there is a one more field is which is required, I can create a one more field in the account object. That means standard objects can be customizable. You can add a field, custom fields into the standard object. Now, for example, I have a total 4 fields are there. Total 4 fields are there. ID, name. Now I have here we have a ID and then name, right? And then salary and the rating. These are the fields which are available. I need a new custom field in order to store the amount. In order to store the amount, I need a custom field. So I can create a custom field in the standard object. I can create a custom field in the standard object. That means standard objects are customizable. Standard objects are customizable. But we cannot remove the standard object. I cannot delete the standard object from the Salesforce. I cannot delete the standard object from the Salesforce. I cannot remove the standard object from the organization, which is not possible. We will not be seeing the delete option at all. We will not be seeing the delete option. Right, this is the standard object. Now let's move on to the custom object. Custom objects are basically the Salesforce admin or a developer can create their own custom objects. The Salesforce admin or a developer can create their own custom objects according to the business requirement. Based on the business requirement, if it is necessary to modify, if it is necessary to create an object, then we will create it. So based on the requirement, if it is really need to be created custom object, then we will create a custom object. So that means who will be creating the custom object? Either admin team or a development team can be creating the custom object. Admin team or a developer will be creating the custom object. Based on the requirement. If I do not have a requirement, nobody will be creating the object. Now, custom objects can be removable. You can delete, you can edit, modify anything if you wanted to do. Right? So you can customize it, you can delete the custom object, you can make any changes to it. Example, branch, customer, policy, claim. So whenever you create a branch, what custom object does is custom object ends with __c. Custom object ends with __c. Example for the branch, it will be branch __c. For customer, it is a customer __c. For priority, it is __c. Priority __c. Right? So this is how we create a custom object. So that is the one of the point which I have mentioned in the standard object. Cannot remove the standard object from the organization. So that is the answer for it. Fields you can remove. Standard fields you cannot remove it. Custom fields you can remove it. Whatever the standard, wherever it says standard, standard cannot be deleted. Standard cannot be deleted. Only custom one can be deleted. Whatever the Salesforce is providing by default, those cannot be deleted. Salesforce is providing custom and standard both fields. In the fields, if you see, Salesforce provides custom as well as standard. Wherever it says no underscore underscore C, if you see the field which does not have an underscore underscore C, those fields you cannot delete. Wherever the field you see underscore underscore C, those fields can be deleted. Those fields can be deleted. Clear? Yes. Where did you see db.com? I have not mentioned anywhere in the db.com. Database.com. Okay, so just focus on whatever I'm teaching it. Now, Garner limits. Garner limits are in development addition. How many objects can we create it? We can create 400 custom objects. 400 custom object. Now, Salesforce is providing, apart from this, Salesforce is providing 170 plus custom objects. Salesforce is providing 170 plus custom objects. Apart from this, we can create a 400 custom objects in the developer edition. Whereas in the other editions, you will have a limit of 3000 total custom objects. Limit of 3000 total custom objects. Out of this, 2000 custom objects you can create it, maximum 2000, and 1000 custom objects is basically when you install the package. When you install the package, so that time it will be creating few objects. Whenever we install a package, as part of the package, there are few objects are created. So apart from those objects, we can create 2000 plus custom objects. So total 3000 custom objects we can create it in the real time. 3000 objects is a lot more. Maximum in the real time, we go for a 200 objects or a 250 objects. Or maximum it might go to the 300. 200 is very high if you ask me, 200 objects, because we do not create those many objects in the real time. Those many objects we do not create. 200 is the maximum we will create it. $200 maximum will create it. Now let's go ahead and see what is the ways to list out the objects. So we can create a objects in a 3 ways, like a object manager, schema builder, and developer console. So what is the different ways that I can view the objects? What is the different ways that I can view the objects? So objects we can view from the object manager. So let's go to the here setup. In the setup, you have a object manager. 3 ways you can view the objects. 3 ways you can view the objects. So one is the object manager. Either you can click on this object manager, or you can type here object manager, or else you can type here object manager. When you type the object manager, you can see here object manager, right? It is ultimately landing onto the object manager. Now, when you land onto the object manager, you can see all the objects here. All the objects you can see here. Now, type is saying here standard object. Standard object. Standard objects are basically the one which is provided by the Salesforce. Wherever it says a custom objects, the one which are created by the admin or a developer. The one which is created by the admin or developer. Now, these are the objects which are available. So, Salesforce is providing around 170 plus standard objects, right? You can view here the object. And here, whenever you are creating an object, does it give to create an external object? Does it give you to create a custom object? It doesn't give you to create an external object. I do not have an option to create an external object. It says custom object, right? So one is a standard object, another one is a custom object. The ways of type, I'm talking about the type here. Standard object, and the second one is custom object. When you click on a custom object, then is there any place it says that externally that I wanted to use it? Anywhere it says that I wanted to use this custom object externally? Does it say it? No, it doesn't say. It doesn't say. Basically, it is a two type, custom standard object and custom object. So that's the reason I have mentioned type is a standard and custom object. Now, how to create an external object, that is altogether a different topic. Now, here one is a object manager, one is object manager. One way of viewing the objects are object manager. The second way of viewing the objects are schema builder. Schema builder. Just type here schema builder. When you go to the schema builder is basically, it's a graphical representative. It's a graphical representational tool. It's a graphical representation tool which represent the object structure on the canvas in the pictorial format. It is a graphical representational tool which represents the object structure on the canvas in the pictorial format. Pictorial format. It is graphical representation tool which represent the object structure on the canvas in the pictorial format, because object structure, when you go to the object manager, in the object manager, you can see the details. If you open this, you can see how many fields are there, right? Those all things you can see here, right? What is the details about the object, but how it is connected to the another object, how it is connected to the another object. If you want to see that information, you cannot see in the graphical representation. You cannot see graphical representation. So in case if you wanted to see in the graphical representation, you have to go to the schema builder. Schema builder. We can identify the objects. We can identify the objects and we can view the fields. What are the fields are available? We can identify the associating the objects. What are the associated objects are there? What are the connected with any other object, right? How it is connected to the account object, what is the relationship, everything we can identify in the schema builder. In order to go to the schema builder, click on a setup menu and search for a schema builder in the quick find box, and then click on a schema builder link. Now you will see here within the object and fields, you will see one option called schema builder. When you click on the schema builder, you will go to the schema builder tool. You will go to this schema builder tool. In this schema builder tool, now basically here it is divided into the entire layout is divided into the two sections. Entire layout is divided into the two sections. The left side one is called as where you have all the objects will be stay here. Objects, fields, whatever you wanted to see, all kind of a configuration of the schema builder will be here. The second one is called as a canvas. The second one is called canvas. That means whatever the object you are selecting here, you can place that object, or you can directly check this so that the object will be displayed here. So on the canvas, the objects will be displayed in the pictorial format or a graphical format. So select the object and the checkbox, whatever the checkbox is there, that object checkbox, select that, so that in the left panel, select the object, so that in the right panel, it will be visible about the object. Right panel, that means in the canvas, it will show the object structure. Now let's go and show you that. Now here it is a schema builder. In the schema builder, the left side part, whatever the left side part is there, where you have all the objects, elements, right? What are the all kind of a configuration will be there. And the right side one is basically it's a canvas. It is canvas. It is called as a canvas. So whenever you select a object here, it will automatically place it onto the canvas. Now, for example, you wanted to clear everything here. You wanted to clear all the data. Click on a clear. Click on clear. That means I cleared everything. Now here select from. Select from has couple of options are available. All objects is nothing but everything. Selected objects are nothing but a selected whatever you have selected. Right now I have not selected anything, so it is not displaying anything. Now if I wanted to show only the strand object, select the strand object, or if you wanted to see only the custom object, then it will show only the custom object, or else you wanted to see the system objects. What are the system objects are there, like activity, task, event, user, those can be visible. Let's say that for now, I'm going to go for a standard objects account, and then I'll take a contact, case, and then contact, right? If you want to search here, you can search also opportunity, product, right? I have selected everything. Now here, let me choose the selected object. When I select the selected objects, only the selected object is visible here. Now, when I checked it, automatically it is adding on the canvas. Automatically it is adding on the canvas. But you see here, these are displaying somewhere. I don't know where it is displaying. So in order to make your layout proper, so just click on here, auto layout. When you click on a auto layout, it will be by default, it will bring at least one object. At least one object it will bring on top. At least one object it will bring on top. Now here, these are the objects. Now here I have these are the objects which are available. These are the objects which are available. Why it is going down? Now here, these objects, you can drag it and place it wherever you wanted. Wherever you wanted, you can place it. So for example, right now we have a case, and then why this account is not moving. Let me refresh. Okay, now this is the account, and then contact, and bottom I have a case. And what else we have? We have a opportunity. This is a opportunity product. We have opportunity and the opportunity product. Right. So this is the account. Account is connected with contact. So whatever this blue line is there, which is nothing but a lookup relationship. Whatever the blue line is there, it is a lookup relationship. And here one more line which is there, which is nothing but a master detail relationship. Account to account, it has a hierarchy from. So if you hover on this any of the link, it will display what is the relationship between the each object. What are the relationship between the each object? Now highlight the object which you wanted to know. Now opportunity is connected to the account as well as the opportunity product. Whereas account is connected to the contact, opportunity, and the case. Contact is connected to the account and the case, right? And the self relationship of the contact. So like this, you will see the object structure, graphical format of the object in the schema builder, And the third place to view the objects, is developer console. So developer console is mostly used by the developers. If you click on a setup menu or click on a developer console link, click on developer console link. When you click on a developer console link, go to the developer console editor, and console on file menu, click on a open menu item. In the open menu item, now you will see here it is divided into the 3 sections. Open menu item is divided into 3 sections. Entity type, entities, related. Entity type, entities, and related. Entity type, entities, and related. Now select the entity type here as an object. You need to select the entity type as an object. When you select the object, it will display in the entities. All the objects will be displayed here. All the objects will be displayed in the entities. Now, when you double click on this entities one, if there are any related fields or anything is there, it will display here. First one is a object. Second one is all the list of objects, it will be displayed. Third one is any related dependencies or any related is there, it will display here. So entity type should be object. Entities are the object name. And then related is any related. So developer console is open menu item is divided into 3 types: entity type, entities, and the related. Fine. So let's go ahead and see. Go to the setup. Now here you have a setup icon. Click on the developer console link. Click on this setup and then click on this developer console link. When you click on a developer console link, there is a new window that gets open. When it opens, just click on a file and then click on a open. File and open. In the developer console, just click on a file and open. In the developer console, just click on a file and open. So click on this open. It is divided into 3 sections. Open is divided into 3 sections. The first section is entity type, and the second section is entities, and the third section is related. Now you have 3 different sections are available here. Now entity types, you will see different type of entities. Now here objects, select the objects. When you select the objects, all the standard and the custom objects, everything you can see here, like account, right? Or a contact, anything you wanted. For example, if you are not finding here, you have a big list. If you want to search it, you can search here opportunity. So directly select here the opportunity and click on open. Search here open and select whichever the one you wanted to click on that. Whenever you wanted to click on that, select that and then click on a open. Right, so now you will see all the fields within this object. All the fields you will see within the objects. So basically when you go to the, again I'm repeating it, setup developer console, click on a file and then click on a open. When you click on a open, select here objects, you will see all the objects list in the entities. You will see all the objects in the entities. In case if you want to find any other object, you can simply type here so that it will be, this filter is applied on the entities. So you can select here lead and click on a open so that you can see all the fields that are exist within that particular object. Now till this point, is everybody clear? Okay. Now let's take a scenario. scenario is, for example, the scenario is we wanted to create an object. We wanted to create an object. Let's assume I'm creating the customer object. Whenever the object is created, that means what is happening when I create an object? At the back end, what is happening? I'm creating an object by going to the object manager, clicking on the create object or create a custom object by clicking on that. I'm creating the object. But when I click create an object, what all things are happening at the back end? So as soon as the object is created, that means ultimately there is a table that gets created in the database. There is a table that gets created in the database, and the table name it will use as a customer and end with appending this underscore C. Object name is always end with underscore C, which is nothing but a custom object, So whenever we create an object, backend, there will be a table that gets created. The table that gets created with the name called customer underscore C. Now, when the table is created, will the table is created with the empty data? Will the table is created with empty data? No, that data, there is no data is available. Will there be a data will be created or not? Basically, whenever the table is created at the backend, it will by default create a few fields. Whenever we create an object, once the object is created, that means whenever I click on a say, by default, what Salesforce does is Salesforce creates few fields in the backend. The fields are ID. Name, owner, created by, last modified by. ID, name, owner, created by, last modified by. ID, owner, name, last modified by, and then created by. So these are the fields which will be created at the backend. Now, here ID, we cannot view anywhere. If you go to the object manager, can I see the ID? I cannot see the ID. Now, if I go to the object manager, here, now in the object manager, now whenever I open the account, let's open the account, fields and relationship. Will I be able to see the ID here? I cannot see the ID field. It is available at the backend. Salesforce does not give you ID field here. ID field, it does not available. Only you will see the ID value, you will see it whenever the record is created. That time on top, there is a 18-digit ID is created. So this ID is stored in there. This ID is stored in the ID field. At the backend, Salesforce is storing this ID in the backend ID field. Whenever this ID is stored, whenever this is basically this, whatever this ID is there, this will be stored in the ID. So this is the ID, 18-digit ID or a 15-digit ID. It stores in the backend of ID. And next one is a name. Name is whenever you are creating a object. While creating the object, you will say that do you want to create a name field or not? You will say here, this is the option you will say here. What is the record name or a type? Whenever data type is you say text. Here automatically based on the object. For example, your object name is account. The record name will be account name. Your object is a position. Then the record name will be position name. Your object is a land, right? So record name is a land name, right? So whatever the object is there, by default, it will take it as a name of the object. Now here you have a one more option, which is a auto number. You have a auto number. Whenever you say auto number, is basically this is the format, right? This is the format. User will not be entering the data. When you say auto number, it's a basically auto number is a read-only field. Auto number is read-only field, which cannot be entered by the users. Users will not be entering the data. Whenever the data type you say here auto number is nothing but automatically there is a each record will have a one number. If I create a first record, it will be the 0001. If I create a second record, it will be 0003. Next record, it will be 004. Next record, it will be 005, 5, 6, 7. Whatever the count is there, automatically the one number gets increased for the every record. So this is auto number. And which are the format you wanted to track the record? Either you can say a hyphen only 10, only 2 zeros, or only 10, only 3 zeros, only 4 zeros. Whatever the zeros format starting number you want, you can specify it here. You can specify it here. And what is the starting number? Do you want to start it from the 6, or do you want to start it from the 1, or do you want to start it from the 9? What are the starting number of the records? You can say specify that, right? So here either name or a auto number, either name, or here it will have a auto number. If you say auto number, it is automatically there is a number gets generated for the each record. There is a automatically the number gets generated for the each record. Now here we have a owner. Here we have a owner. Owner created by, last modified by. Owner created by, last modified by. Right? So owner is basically Salesforce is creating, created by is also Salesforce is creating, last modified by is also creating by the Salesforce. These are the 5 fields which are created by the Salesforce by default whenever we create an object. So total fields, whenever you create a new object, by default you will see the 5 fields which are created by the Salesforce: ID, name, owner, created by, last modified by. And along with this, it also creates a user interaction. User interaction, that means tabs. That means if you say checkbox true, that means if you say that yes, I want the tab, then it will create the tab. If you say no, I do not want the tab, it will not create the tab. User interaction, user interface. So where do you specify the user interface? Do you want the tab or not? You will specify in this place. You will specify here. Now here, the last checkbox, whatever the last checkbox is available, that last checkbox is specifies whether you want a tab or not. Whether you want a tab or not. If you enable this checkbox, that means you are expecting the user interface for this custom object. That means you are expecting the tab on the for this object. Now, whenever the user interface is created, you will see the records like this. Now, when you click on a new record, you simply see the customer name and customer owner. Rest 3 fields you will not see on the new record. Now, for example, I have already created the customer object. Now, I clicked on the new button. When I click on a new button, this is how the screen will be visible. This is how screen will be the visible. Customer name I need to enter. Customer owner is read format. It's not a editable. It's just a read only field. Customer owner is a read only field. You cannot edit it. You cannot edit. So only the place that I need to enter the data is customer name. Customer name. Rest other 3 fields are which are not even it will show in the object. Not even it will show in the object. ID, name, created by, last modified, right? ID created by, last modified, these will not be shown. These will not be shown. Perfect. Now For example, last time I created a object, the new object which we have created. There is a one custom object which we have created last time, which is called as a candidate. Now let me go ahead and create a candidate. Click on a candidate here. Now click on a new button. How many fields I can see? Only 2 fields I can see. But how many fields are there in the object? Let me open this object. Click on fields and relationship. Just only 4 fields I can see here. ID, which is not visible here. 4 fields are there, but I can see only 2 fields here. Because created by last modified by is not visible to the, whenever we are creating a new record, created by or last modified will not be visible. Is not visible. Even when you are editing the data, also it is not visible. So this is how what will happen whenever we create an object. This is how whenever we create an object. Now let's go ahead. Now custom object. Upon creating the custom object, Salesforce provides 3 layers by default. Salesforce provides 3 layers by default. It will create a table. First one is it will create a table with the specified names, right? It will create a 5 standard fields. ID, name, owner, created by, last modified by. This is the first one. And the second layer is it will create the tab for the object. If you say, yes, I need a tab, it will create a tab for the object. And the third one is it will create a business logic at the back end. It will create a business logic at the back end. That means as soon as I create a custom object, it will create a business logic at the object. Example, object name is customer, table name is customer __, and then you will see field name, what are the field ID, name, owner, created by owner, and the tab user, customer. So some kind of a business logic, which is by default Salesforce is generating at the backend whenever we create a custom object, right? We are just clicking on the 2 steps we are doing it. But when we do the 2 steps, Salesforce is doing the 10 steps. Salesforce is doing the 10 steps. We are doing the 2 steps. On top of it, Salesforce is doing that at the backend 10 steps. That means they are also adding some business logic for the new objects. For the new object, they are adding some kind of a business logic. Now, what are the ways to create a custom object here? Ways to create a custom object is Salesforce provides the following 2 ways to create a custom object. One is by using the object manager. Second one is by using the schema builder. You can create an object through the object manager, or you can create an object through the schema builder. Now let's see the first one, creating the object manager. Creating the object through the object manager. Now let's go ahead and create a navigation steps here. For the object manager is set up, search for an object manager. It will click on an object manager. It will open up the object manager. There, click on a create button. Once you click on the create button, it will show 2 options there, but select only the custom object button. Custom object button. And then enter the, so when you click on the custom object, this is the screen, it will be visible. Now here you need to enter the label name, singular label name, plural label name. Example, account. If you say label is account, then plural label is accounts. If you say here position, your plural name will be positions. If you say label name hospital, then plural label is hospitals. If you say label is company, then plural label is companies, right? So these are the details you will give. Then you will give the description, and here object name is automatically displayed. Object name is, which is the API name, that is all automatically displays it. Once you create it, now let's go ahead and create it. Now let's understand first, and then we have a optional feature section in the object whenever we are creating an object. So here, whenever we click on a new custom object, object manager, click on a custom object. Now here we have covered this. Next one is optional features. Next one is optional features. So these optional features are, first one is allow reports. First one is allow reports. Basically, if you want to allow the reports, whenever you are generating a report, and while generating a report, you wanted to see this object as well, then you can see, check this so that this object will be visible while creating the report. Next one is allow activities. Whenever you wanted to perform some activities on top of this object, if you want to do some kind of activities, then check this on this object level. Next one is a track field history. Track field history. If you wanted to track any field details, so object level, just enable this track field history. And whenever you enable, if you are tracking any fields, maximum we can track the data of 18 months. Maximum we can track the details of 18 months. We can track the details of 18 months. And then allow charter group. Allow charter group is basically this object. Whenever I wanted to post something related to this object, should be allowed to message in the charter group or not. So these options you can check based on the requirement. If you say it is not required, allow charter group, do not check this. But mostly we'll have a track field history checkbox, allow reports, allow activities. These checkboxes will be we will select it in the real time. Now go to the development status section. In the go to development section, you have a two types. One is in development, second one is a deployed. So first one is a optional feature. Optional features are, these are the options are there. And the next one is a enable license. Enable license is, this is added newly, but it is not, right now it is disabled. It is disabled. So in order to enable, right now it is a disable. Don't worry about enabling right now. So right now it is a disable. We do not have option to enable this thing. And next one is a deployment status. In the deployment status, we have a two steps: in development and deployed. In development is nothing but we are currently working on it. We are currently working on this object. Deployed is nothing but I have completed working on this object. So whenever you are working on creating the objects or a fields or anything, like for example, on the initial phase, whenever you are doing the fresh object, you are creating it, and also you are doing the fields creation, everything. Initially, we will keep it as a in deployment, in development, and once we are done, whenever we are supposed to deliver to the another object, then we will change the object to the deployed. Deployed is nothing but I'm done with it. So whenever you are moving the data to the, whenever you are moving the object from one sandbox to another sandbox or one sandbox to the production, always check the deployment status as deployed. That means we are completed, then only the deployment can happen on top of it. And then only deployment can happen on top of it. The next one is object creation options. Next one is object creation options. So here we have a object creation options. Now, in the object creation options, there are two checkboxes are available. One is add nodes and attachments related list to the page layout. Add nodes and attachment related list to the page layout. Second one is a launch new custom tab wizard after saving the custom object. There are two checkboxes which are available. Now, if you want nodes and attachments to be linked to this particular object, check that. Otherwise, don't check. And launch new custom tab wizard. If you wanted to create a tab for this custom object, check this. Otherwise, do not check. And then click on a next button. For example, assume that I have checked the tab. Assume that I have checked this second checkbox. Launch new custom tab wizard. I have checked it. When I click on it, when I check this and click on a next button, on the next button, I'll see the new screen, which is called as a tab style. new screen, which is called as a tab style. So from the lookup icon. Now there also select the tab style, whatever the style you wanted, and click on the next button. Now it will ask you the option. Do you want this tab to be default on or a default off or a tab hidden? What is the one which you wanted? So you can select that and then click on the next button. Select the checkbox, include tab, and make the tab to be visible in the all application, and then click on a save button. Click on a save button. Right, so these are the options which are available. These are the options which are available on creation of the object. On creation of the object, whatever the options are there, we have discussed. Now, one more option which is available here, search status. When this setting is enabled, your users can find records of the object when they search it, right? So whenever they are searching it, then if you wanted to find a record, then you can select this allow search. That means on top of that, they are searching the records. Whenever they are searching the records, if you wanted to allow your custom object also on the searching as part of it, then you can enable that so that it will be searched at the top. Whenever they search, custom, what are the new object records are there, those records also visible on search. So these are the options which are available on creation of the object. These are the options which are available on creating the object. Now creating the object we will see tomorrow. And one more thing we'll cover. So we'll have a emails. So whenever there is a email that goes out, right? Whenever there is a emails that goes out, whether the emails are reviewed properly or not. Whether emails are going properly or not. So we have a something called email tracking or email delivery settings, right? Email log files. You can request whatever the emails are that has gone. Whatever the emails that are gone, you can request it. Now this email part, we will see it whenever we are discussing the email concept. Whenever we are discussing the email concept, we will see. So we have a different options to track the emails, and also object level also you can see here. Whenever you go to the object, let's go to the lead. Let me open one lead. For example, let me send an email. I'll just say here test and click on send. Now it is saying that send email to the Sai Pallavi, right? They have not opened it. They have not opened. That means they have not reviewed it. They have not reviewed it. Now if I go back to the email and if I review it, it suddenly changes this. Now it says that you have sent on this day, but they have not reviewed anything. They have not reviewed your email. They have not reviewed your email. One option is directly you can check here. Right, if I go back to the Salesforce, sorry, in my Gmail ID, now let's refresh. Now here I have received a test. Let me open the test. Now immediately, now I have opened it and I reviewed it. And let's go back and let's go to the detail section and come back to the activity. Still it says unopened, let's refresh. last opened few seconds ago. Last opened few seconds ago. That means they have opened it. They have opened your email, they have reviewed it. So one way is you can track it here. There are few options which are available in the settings also. We will see that later. That's the basically that is a for entertainment, I can say. That is for just for entertainment. So it's kind of a whenever you are creating a object or a field, whenever you are creating a record, or whenever the record is created, you want some kind of a sound. Right now, whenever I create a record here, whenever I create a record, it doesn't come any sound. But if you want any sound, right, if you wanted some kind of a oval sound that you wanted whenever the record is created, you can simply play with this. You will understand. So for that, we have an option called where you can do this spreadsheet. So if you have a data, in case if you wanted to move this, you can bring that from the xyz.com to the spreadsheet. Now, how you are going to bring it from the xyz.com? How you are going to export it from the xyz.com? .csv file. If it is a .csv file, just click on this custom object. So when you click on this custom object spreadsheet, from the spreadsheet, so what will happen is you can log in with Salesforce. You can basically you can import the CSV file. It will again ask you for a couple of information. That's okay. Just give the data here. Now it is converted into the object create salesforce.com index. Object create salesforce.com. Okay. So if you want to upload it, you can upload it. It is giving. So let's see here, object manager and create object from spreadsheet. Log in with Salesforce. Click on login. Now click on here, upload CSV, or if you want to go for a Office 365, or if you have a Google Sheet, you can do that. So once you click on upload, you need to have some CSV file. I don't have CSV file. We'll do it later. So you can upload it here. Then if you go to the next step, in the next step, it is going to ask you to map the details, and then we will do. So this we will do it later. So first let's understand whatever we have covered so far. Let's understand, then we will go by step by step. Any other questions? Let's end up here.